knowing that they were being watched by the eyes of children in Gaza who write our names on their tents, who say Columbia University, who say CUNY is protesting for them. Our students remain principled, remain strong, remain tenacious in the face of police violence, in the face of brutalization, and in the face of bad faith negotiating by their university. Polat.
Up next, we have Mariam from Columbia SJP.
Hi, Mariam on MARYAMALWAN. Thought we fucking shot someone were the recorded text messages on a police officer's phone on Columbia University's campus Tuesday night and posted on Twitter. This was one of many officers who also denied all medical access to a student that they knocked unconscious. 2 weeks after being arrested myself, and on the 56th anniversary of Columbia's brutal arrests of over 700 students protesting the Vietnam War and gentrification of Harlem, I was pushed and barricaded into John Jay by riot police called onto campus by our administrators yet again. I watched as an EMT pleaded to be allowed to treat students, as police laughed and turned off their body cameras, and as press were prevented from bearing witness. Columbia and the cops collaborated to brutalize my classmates in the dark for standing up for what is right. The mainstream media is currently lying about outside detractors and overflowing property damage in order to justify brutality and distract from their complicity in genocide, just as they did with the civil rights movement, Black Lives Matter, and every other social movement for change. I was posting videos of the police throwing tables and breaking windows in real time yesterday. To be clear, the police caused far more property damage and physical endangerment than my classmates ever did. There is not a single student-led uprising in history met with severe state-sanctioned violence that did not end up being right. Frankly, I am tired of press conferences performing Palestinian trauma to the American public. How many more children have to be trapped under the rubble of our bombs for you all to wake up? History will not look kindly upon you. 6-year-old Hind Rajab's name will be memorialized in textbooks and on Columbia's website one day. Her story is just one of the over 40,000 slaughtered Palestinians that we could not possibly name enough buildings after. As we speak, Israel is invading Rafah, a location it previously designated a safe zone. Last week, President Joe Biden sent $14.1 billion to fund more genocide. Money that could be used to fund our healthcare is being funneled to destroy the last standing hospitals in Gaza. We Americans are the most complicit in the worst atrocities of modern history. We refuse to be distracted from genocide. My message to the Columbia University administration and the United States government is this: when the tide inevitably finishes turning and your investment in moral bankruptcy is no longer politically profitable, understand that you have always been the villains. And when Palestine is finally free, we, your students, will never, ever forgive you. We will not stop fighting. This is only the beginning.
Hi, so up next we have Sharif from CUAD. Hi, my name is Sharif and I'm with the CUAD, Quad, Columbia University Apartheid Divest. Today is May Day, day 207 of Israel's genocide of the Palestinian people. Yesterday, April 30th, was the 56th anniversary of the NYPD arresting nearly 700 protesters at Columbia in an attempt to shut down the glorious student movement of 1968. Last night, students fighting for divestment at CUNY and Columbia and across the nation faced some of the worst police brutality witnessed on college campuses. These incidents mark a turning point in the student movement, which we aim to be a time for reflection. This moment will catalyze the world into seeing that students have the right to resist police brutality, just as Palestinians have the right to resist their genocidal oppressors. University campuses have become the most contested ground in the nation, as students display overwhelming support for divestment from Israeli genocide and apartheid. The administrations have subjected us to brutal police and state violence, and university presidents like Manu Shafiq have welcomed police, also known as pigs, onto campus until graduation. To police brutality, we say we are not deterred, and we will win. Columbia will divest. To repression, we say our numbers will only grow. To state violence, we say we will become smarter, stronger, and better prepared to stand our ground. To the Palestinian people, we recommit our love to you and affirm that our hope and will has never been stronger. Our people arrested yesterday will soon be free and ready to fight again with even greater insight into the oppressor. We, the students, will win. From Emory to Humboldt to CUNY, we will wage not only a fight against the oppressors, but an effort to educate the world on our government's complicity in the genocide and the sham that is the American empire. From the belly of the beast, we proudly state that we are unafraid. We are strong. Tomorrow is ours, and victory is nearer than we imagine. In our hearts are olive trees that will sprout passion unlike anything this country has ever seen. We, with our hope, with our voices, with our hearts and our minds, will build a student movement that will take back our campuses from morally corrupt administrations that disregard humanity for the sake of profit. We are the students, and we are not afraid. We will win all of our demands and more. From Harlem to Palestine, we will win. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Up next, we have Zaid from AMP, who is a Columbia alum.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته والصلوات والسلام على سيدنا Muhammad. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yesterday on April 30th, 2024, pro-Palestinian student activists struck a decisive blow to the genocidal entity. We are here today to claim victory. We have exposed the City University of New York and Columbia University's complicity in war crimes, apartheid, and genocide. This victory is not just a historic milestone. It is a seismic shift in the struggle for justice and liberation for oppressed people everywhere. Change has always been in the hands of the youth. And today we proudly stand as the change makers for a better world, but with a conviction today fiercer than before. The student encampments, born of unwavering commitment to justice, stood as a fortress against oppression. Encampments began when courageous students of Columbia University and their allies rose up to confront the entrenched complicity of their institution in funding war crimes and genocide. Our demands were not requests. There were clear mandates with the goal to unveil Columbia's complicity in perpetrating injustice and to secure justice for the victims of Zionist terrorism. In the face of relentless adversity, students across the world have exercised their sacred right to resist. But the response from the forces of complicity was swift and savage. The hollowed halls and lawns of academia have transformed into battlegrounds as the deafening roar of sound grenades shattered the tranquility of the night. Columbia University, once revered as a home for enlightenment and free speech, revealed its true nature. A willing accomplice to the genocidal agenda of Zionist terrorism. Guns were pointed at students. Hijabs ripped off of the heads of Muslims. And bodies battered and beat by those who claim to serve and protect them. In the face of this relentless onslaught, we remain unbowed and unbroken. We have laid bare and exposed the complicity of Columbia University and the City University of New York in perpetrating war crimes and genocide, exposing the true nature of Zionism as a racist, white supremacist ideology that employs terrorism to further its influence. Our encampment became an indomitable show of resistance, a beacon of hope to all free people across the world during the darkest of times. The response from the ruling elite was swift and savage. Politicians, presidents, and white supremacists teamed up with Zionists outside of our campus and across the country, unleashing a barrage of propaganda and attacks in a futile attempt to silence our righteous cause using false allegation and lies. They thought to criminalize our dissent, to drown out our voices with baseless accusations of anti-Semitism. But let it be known, we will not be silenced.
That's fine.
Today's victory is not just a triumph for the people of New York City. Today is a roaring call for justice that has continued to echo across the world. The people have spoken. The people stand with Palestine, and the people are against Zionism. But today, the Zionist empire is continuing its barbaric terrorist campaign in Gaza.
Shame.
We continue to stand in unwavering solidarity with the oppressed people of Palestine. Their struggle is our struggle, and their pain is our pain. Today, as we continue to reclaim our communities from the clutches of complicity, we declare that justice shall prevail, and it will prevail. We have torn aside the veil of deceit, the veil of lies, revealing our so-called leaders and institutions for what they truly are, prostitutes of the Zionist regime. Our so-called leaders are nothing but soulless puppets dancing to the tune of a genocidal regime steeped in white supremacist ideology that has come today to be shown in all different colors and faces and demographics. You no longer have to be white to be a racist white supremacist. We can think of Na'mat Shafiq, the Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of Columbia University. But let us be clear, the attacks yesterday on students were not only an attack on a handful of students, it was an assault on the very foundations of freedom and democracy. Hundreds of our community members were unjustly imprisoned last night, their only crime being the defense of justice against the monstrous tyranny of Zionism genocidal agenda. We say over and over again, our leaders are complicit. They are not here to help us. Power is with the people, and we keep us safe, and we will keep Gaza safe, and we will keep all of those who are oppressed safe. And I ask you all, if you are covering the student protests, if you are covering the street protests, I ask the media to have some shame and cover what's happening in Gaza as well. Over 40,000 innocent Palestinians have been killed to pursue a terroristic campaign for no just cause. Over 15,000 children have been seen on social media for the last 6 months, hanging off of walls, parents carrying their children in plastic bags. Yet the shameful media has only been covering anti-Semitism, which has not been proven. Shame. Yesterday in California at UCLA, a group of hundreds of Zionist terrorists, domestic terrorists, attacked students peacefully protesting on their college campus. That is an act of terrorism. So once you start calling out what's really going on and what we're protesting, stay the fuck off of our campuses.
Next, we have Zamed from ICNA.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to start with a simple and clear message. The Islamic Circle of North America and the Council for Social Justice, along with all other New Yorkers, stand resolute with our students and young activists in their noble quest for justice. We commend their peaceful yet powerful opposition to genocide and apartheid and their advocacy against institutional investments in such regimes. We unequivocally condemn the violent behavior of the NYPD and, more importantly, the actions of the college and university administrators who put the safety of their students in danger in order to protect the blood-soaked legacy of supporting the Zionist colonial entity.
Shame!
To our students and all people of conscience, we all know that every student movement has been met with resistance, but we will not let them silence you. We will not let them twist your cause, the cause of justice and life. We will not let them change the narrative to change the focus of the ongoing genocide. They're afraid because they know they cannot break us. And know this, we stand with you. Humanity stands with you. We will support and fight with you, and together we will free Palestine. They will not control us. We will be victorious. We are on the right side of history. We must stand up, not just for ourselves, but for our brothers and sisters in Gaza whose voices have been silenced, for the children who are suffering with torn limbs and mass starvation. We must fight not with the weapons of our oppressors, but rise up together with unity, courage, and an unwavering belief in justice and equality. The time has come for us to rise, as our students have shown us, to stand shoulder to shoulder and say no more. No more exploitation. No more division.
No more!
And no more living in the shadows of systems that do not serve us.
No more!
We must dismantle these structures brick by brick and build in their place a society founded on the principles of justice, equity, and mutual respect. Let us move forward with a fierce determination and a clear vision of what we are fighting for. A world where every Palestinian child is recognized and respected, where all of Palestine is free, and where justice reigns supreme. The people united will never be defeated. Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
Free Palestine! Up next, we have Jihad, who is a CUNY alum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First and foremost, we are here not because of us, not because of the students, not because of the stupid NYPD pigs. We are here because of Gaza, and only Gaza, and all of Palestine. We are here because they called for us to mobilize. We are here because this is what we are going to do. This is the promise that we made to our people in Gaza, to mobilize and resist until liberation. And this is what we are going to do until there is an end to settler colonialism and genocide wherever it may be. As students of CUNY, we recognize that our role is to pressure our administration by any means necessary until they meet our demands. Because our tuition is blood money. Our tax dollars are blood money. It is going to fund the Zionist entity that is entering its 76th year of the ongoing occupation. And this revolution, which includes the mass demonstrations and encampments, are not just exclusively for students. It is for the masses. It is for the entire community. It is for the free people of the world who are able to resist however you can, whether it be with a rock or other tools of liberation. This is a people's revolution. This is for Gaza. And it is a duty upon us all, upon all of you journalists who are holding a camera. Next week, I want to see you hold something else, whether it be a rock or a Palestinian flag. Come to our protest. Don't just come to cover our protest. Come, hold the Palestinian flag. So the myth of outside agitators, as the NYPD and CUNY administration describe, is in fact inaccurate. It is a myth. In fact, we welcome the entire community to join us in our efforts to resist and escalate for Gaza. Escalations are not wrong. Escalations is what Gaza is demanding for. They are the ones who are experiencing a genocide with bombs dropping on their homes every day. They sleep in cold tents with no blankets, no food. Us, we were sleeping there. We had food, we had blankets. We can't compare us to the people in Gaza. This is really the least what we can do for our people in Palestine. So again, escalations are not wrong. We are not spreading fear or terror. In fact, it is only the United States probably who are afraid because they're seeing people mobilize. They're seeing people wake up and realize that the United States, the CUNY administration, and the Zionist entity are the enemy of every single human on this world. So, we're not spreading terror. We're not spreading hate. It is NYPD who is doing that. They're ripping off hijabs off of our sisters and mothers. They're beating our brothers with batons. And they are pepper spraying anyone who carries a Palestinian flag. And this is no surprise. It is the NYPD who exchanged tactics and strategies and trained with the Israeli occupation forces. And it is even more shameful that CUNY and CCNY administration brought in the NYPD to arrest and brutally beat their own students. So again, escalations are not wrong when the CUNY administration is killing our people in Gaza. While we occupy the campus, it is them who are funding the occupation in Palestine. It is the CUNY administration that is organizing trips into occupied Palestine, where our people live, where our cousins live, where our brothers and sisters live, whose homes and cities have been destroyed and ethnically cleansed. It is the CUNY administration going on tours to our home, treating it like some kind of vacation resort. But it is not a vacation resort. It is our home, and we will return to our home. And to even dive deeper in this, the CUNY administration, as a matter of fact, recently, they organized trips into the occupation military bases that is bombing homes, schools, and hospitals in Gaza. So until our demands are met, we will continue to resist, not just until CUNY divests, but until Palestine is free from the river to the sea, and we will resist until complete liberation. And to all those arrested, whether it be the students or anyone from the community, whoever you are, you do not have to be a student to join our encampments. CUNY is a public space. It is open for the entire community. Education should not be sealed off with gates. Education is for everybody. So again, my message to all those arrested: I commend you and I applaud you. Gaza honors you. Gaza loves you. You have gone down in history as a hero resisting oppression wherever it may be. So getting arrested will not stop us. And I know it will not stop you. So even getting suspended, who cares? Our people are getting massacred. We don't care. Even martyrdom will not stop us and our people resisting in Palestine. And therefore, resistance is an eternal struggle that will never end. And to the enemy, this is not the end. If you think this is an end, you're just too bad for you. You're foolish. We're just getting started. The university, as our people back home call it, the university intifada, we are just getting started with it. The university intifada lives on until we are able to live in a free Palestine, free of oppression, with an end to Zionism and colonialism and genocide and imperialism wherever it may be. And I will end by saying this: the encampments are not just a group of students. It is the West Bank, it is Gaza, it is those in exile, it is those in the occupied territories, it is us living in this imperial, genocidal country. We are all here. We are the encampments. It is just because we're not there today, we're going to be there tomorrow. It is an ideal that will never end. You can take down the tents, but you cannot take down the encampments. You cannot defeat the ideal. You cannot defeat the future. So to the Zionist entity and the CUNY administration, we are coming and we will be there when you least expect it. You will not be able to defeat the revolutionaries who truly carry truth and justice with them wherever they go. In school, we learn about Malcolm X, but are we really practicing what Malcolm X taught us? Are we really? So again, you will not be able to defeat the masses whose army carries more power than your fragile multi-million-dollar military. We will defeat you. Salam.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
Okay, so up next we have Jihad. Up next we have Karina, who is a CUNY teacher, CUNY faculty, and member of CUNY for Palestine.
Hi, I just want to start by saying let's give it up for these amazing students. If their actions these past few weeks don't inspire you, I don't know what will. They are so brave, so courageous. I want to talk a little bit about the violence, repression, and retaliation that we've heard about from these incredible students and why it's happening right now. The colonial capitalist state is targeting the student uprising because of how successful it has been, how principled and politically clear it has been in defense of Palestinian liberation. They have called out the horrors of genocide and the role of this government, our tax dollars, of U.S. imperialism is supporting and directly enacting this violence against the Palestinian people. This movement is growing and it is a threat to Zionism and to U.S. imperialism. The students have had enough of seeing their own institutions' complicity in what is now over 75 years of settler colonial violence and dispossession in Palestine. The clarity, conviction, and determination of these students is what threatens this state, and it threatens capital, it threatens empire. As our Columbia comrade earlier said, they are angry because they see they cannot break the students. The brilliance and courage of these students is what has inspired so many CUNY faculty who are here with us today and who have been present in the encampment throughout the 6 days. CUNY faculty and staff who have stood in solidarity and have joined the encampment, as well as supported the encampment's 5 demands. And I'm just going to reiterate those. The first is disclose and divest. CUNY must divest its $8.4 million invested in tech weapons and surveillance that aid Zionist colonization and commit to financial transparency. Second, boycott. Ban all academic trips to the Zionist state, encompassing birthright, Fulbright, and prospective trips, and cancel all forms of cooperation with Israeli academic institutions, including events, activities, agreements, and research collaborations or projects. Third, solidarity. The encampment is calling on the administration to release a statement affirming the right of the Palestinian people to resist for national liberation and the right of return, and protect pro-Palestine students and workers from retaliation and repression. Fourth, demilitarize CUNY and demilitarize Harlem. We want the IOS and NYPD officers off of all CUNY campuses. And we want an end to all collaboration, trainings, and recruitment by imperialist institutions, including the CIA, Homeland Security, and ROTC. Thank you. I'm fifthly a people's CUNY with a free tuition and a fair contract. The encampment demands a fully funded, free CUNY that is not beholden to Zionist and imperialist private donors. I want to speak now a little bit about the role of the administration in the events that happened last night and that have been covered by many of my comrades who spoke earlier. I want to point out that it was the CCNY President Boudreaux that called a state of emergency that put our students, CUNY students and workers, CUNY community in harm's way. I myself spoke only minutes before the raid on our encampment with Dr. Denise Maybanks, who's the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs at CUNY. I spoke with her 2 times last night. One was about maybe half an hour, 45 minutes before the raid. And during that conversation, I explained to the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs the violence that I had witnessed only hours earlier. And I explained to her the horrors of the students and CUNY workers and community had experienced by seeing riot police enter onto our campus, as well as regular NYPD officers and the violence of CUNY's public safety officers. I explained this to her. She told me she would take this information back to the chancellor, and I waited to hear back from her, hoping that she would take this advice and call off a more violent raid that everyone anticipated but didn't know when it would happen. When she called and told me the raid would be happening within the next few minutes, I pleaded with her, surrounded by students and other CUNY faculty and community members. We pleaded with her to stop and call off the raid and protect the students. I want to say now a few words about, well, firstly, the raid we know happened regardless of our pleading and regardless of the facts and information that were provided to the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. I want to now say a few words about the shameful raid that took place on the Gaza Solidarity Encampment that many of us here experienced yesterday. This was an incredible amount of excessive, disproportionate, unnecessary police brutality against our primarily working class, largely Black and brown students and workers who were there in the encampment when this raid took place. And this violence was enacted by the NYPD. Earlier in the day, it was by the so-called public safety officers, because they do not provide safety. That's why we need to use quotation marks and get them off our campuses, as well as the NYPD. The NYPD came in, and this includes the SRG. It was a horrifying experience. I was in that encampment. I was linking arms with other faculty members and students when this occurred. We were surrounded on all sides by hundreds of police officers. It felt like a military invasion. It was terrifying. I've never experienced anything like it before. There was an unnecessary and excessive use of force. Throughout the day, there had been chemical burns, broken bones, bruises. Not only students and workers, but also press had been targeted. During the raid, I personally witnessed several people thrown to the floor, beaten, brutalized by the police. I myself was also arrested, along with hundreds of others. I also want to point out that the NYPD blocked off the streets so that people couldn't come and see what was happening. This is fascism. And the violence against the protesters was extreme. There was also kettling of protesters on the outside, and this is despite a 2020 law that outlawed NYPD kettling. The NYPD kettled protesters on sidewalks and then pushed them back with batons.
Turned off their body cams.
Batons were pressed against their necks and chests when they had nowhere to go. They were choking people. There were violent arrests made both inside and outside of the encampment. In the jail, they also tased people, and in the jail, I can also testify to inhumane conditions that I witnessed. And I want to say these are not unique to this experience of last night, because we know the inhumane conditions are throughout our jails and prisons in this country. But last night, I got to see firsthand this inhumane treatment of people who had been arrested. We were held in very long lines, hours, 5, 6, maybe even longer. Many of us were left out in the cold for hours, in the rain. We had our hands tied with zip ties behind our backs, very tightly done. And I think that was intentional. It was many people asked to have them loosened. The police refused, most of them refused. I saw incidents of people crying, breaking down because they couldn't stand the pain from the zip ties on their wrists. We were not given a place to sit. So people were standing for hours. People with medical conditions were denied access to medical treatment. People passed out. People were denied access to water. They weren't given chairs. They were denied access to a bathroom for hours while detained. Despite cases that were settled by the NYPD for removal of women's hijabs during arrest, there was at least one incident that I myself witnessed in jail of a Muslim women's hijab taken. And the rest. But I should point out that all of the people who were in that jail were cheering, were screaming and calling on the police to give her back her hijab and to treat her humanely. And that was amazing. The experience of being there in solidarity with so many people who had been arrested, who were fighting back. They were resisting. They were yelling back at the police officers. And they were cheering and chanting for a free Palestine from the river to the sea. And that was throughout the time that I was there for hours. They were defiant against these brutal NYPD. The actions and non-actions of our administration here at CUNY are a reminder that although the administration here constantly repeat the lie that our beautiful CUNY community who are here with us today, and we hear coming by, honking their horns, the corner shops that have supported us, an ice cream store down there that gave us access to bathrooms. When the CCNY shut down the buildings, these are part of our beautiful community, CUNY community, and extends beyond our amazing students and workers to encompass our alumni and all of the community members in which our campuses are embedded, and which our university has contributed to displacing and criminalizing. These are not the outside agitators that the administration keeps claiming they are. They are part of our CUNY community, and we are proud to have them. And we are proud to be in solidarity, to have their solidarity. The real outside agitator is our administration. It does not represent this wonderful community that we have witnessed over years, over decades at CUNY, and especially in the last 6 days of this Gaza Solidarity Encampment. We have witnessed here a truly liberated and liberating space that expressed not only solidarity with the Palestinian liberation struggle, but with the liberation of all oppressed peoples. This is just the beginning. The students have reminded us that another world is possible and is already in the making. And I'm so proud to be a member of this CUNY community. Palestine will be free. Free Palestine! Palestine will be free! My name is Corina Mullen, CORINNAMULLIN, and I'm a faculty member at John Jay. I'm an